I was illicitly recording music off my stereo.
You're listening to music during this? Are we not
at the time.
Are we boring you?
This coming from the person who eats food during the episodes I have to edit.
Wait, I'm not the one saying that.
You're the other one who eats food while I have to edit.
I'd just like to point out that I'm the one who doesn't.
Yes.
Yes. Rancid, listen to all the music you want. You've earned it.
Are you recording Rancid now?
I am, yes.
Okay.
All right. So,
Pixarspective never dies.
It never dies. It never dies. Hello, everybody.
Welcome back.
Actually, I'll let you.
One anime episode, and we're already back to Pixar.
Yep.
Easy come, easy go.
And honestly, we'll be back in a couple months too.
Oh god.
Months. Oh, for Pixar. Oh, I thought you were talking about anime. It's like months.
Yeah, that's crazy thing about anime
we'll put
is
the
that they
anime
keep
on the back
making
burner while we work on Pixar.
Yeah.
Pixarspective 2.
You got soul.
So welcome back. This is actually technically a bonus episode. We all watched the newest Pixar film Onward, 2020's
Oh wait,
Onward.
hold on. And not just the three of us. Usually, we have our special guest with us today.
Oh, okay. So
once again,
let's start it off from the top. I am the Wash.
I'm Random Bystander here.
I am CountRancid. I'm an elf cleric with 12 dexterity.
Nice.
I didn't think of anything. I totally forgot.
Pixarspective never dies.
Never dies.
So
Okay.
Nobody's ever really gone.
Yeah, we've all never left. We've never stopped recording. Honestly. I missed this. But I mean, anime's fantastic too. But just something about
Pixar is its own thing, definitely.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about that because the thing is, I always seem to get stuck with the bad to average episodes, and it's tough because sooner or later a fella runs out of ways to say, that was all right.
Tails.
This is the energy that I bring. Is that every single fucking summation I have is that I'll eventually say, well, you could see it or you can't. It doesn't matter. One of these days I want to pan something. I really do.
On that note,
well, just you wait for Cars 4.
Oh god, don't even joke about that.
Oh, mother.
How does it make you feel that half of the movies we've talked about with you were Cars movies?
What if Cars 4 actually did go to space?
Then we're calling you to come look at it.
I mean, we know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, they can't.
It's just a matter of time when Pixar needs more money.
Yeah, I can't.
They're done with. They're quote unquote done with Toy Story, so they gotta rely on Cars now.
They're not even done with Toy Story.
Cars, the flamethrower.
The flamethrower.
No, the flamethrower. Well, and
I want a flamethrower with Lightning McQueen on it.
McQueen.
So, we're already way off track, but let me just say right off the bat for everybody listening, this is 98% unedited, and also it's entirely spoilers about the brand new film
spoilers.
Onward. So
yes.
So if
spoilers,
yes,
watch the movie first or don't. It's up to you.
It doesn't
matter. A lot of people are taking that latter option.
Ooh. You have some. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Rancid.
Yeah.
Mostly because you wanted to cover this from the beginning.
Yeah, I was very. I noticed you were even like updating us like months before this film was coming out. Like
yeah,
you were keeping up abreast on this. So we don't have a throughout our structure. So I think Rancid, why don't you tell us your backstory with Onward?
Okay, so about 8 hours ago, I'm going to be going to jail and possibly hell because I watched a Russian cam version of this movie, which I honestly was honestly the I know that the movie's box office may be hurting a little in these recent times, but in not going out and getting infected or possibly infecting others with the flu, I'm a goddamn hero.
Yeah, that's I was about to say. You're listening.
But
we all went out and saw the movie. We're the ones promoting danger here.
Oh no.
would you describe that as a perilous quest in its own right?
In a way, yes. It was
See,
a quest.
you're doing everybody a favor, but you're still pirating it. So like your heart's going to heaven, but when you get there, it's only going to be your legs.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
I had snoo.
Oh god. Oh god. So yeah, that's how you watched Onward.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Surprisingly good quality.
That's good.
And there's no like edits or anything like that.
No. I expected one scene in particular, which we will get to be at least edited out. It wasn't. The only discernible difference in my copy was some Cyrillic script.
Oh, okay.
You know, whenever characters aren't reading out text, and it's just meant to be text on the screen that you read, they switched it out for Cyrillic script.
Oh, okay.
And I find that amusing because when Ian is writing in his journal, you can clearly see that he is tracing English letters, meaning that they used an extra texture, like they rendered versions for international audiences, but they did not change the animation at all.
Huh. I know that they've had to do that like since like at least Monsters Incorporated. But I never would have noticed that like they wouldn't even bother with like changing animation.
Wow.
Yeah, the Russian version of Monsters Incorporated is pretty grim. It's mostly social realism. The monsters are all very gruff-voiced stop-motion puppets for some reason. God bless you, Jan Odek.
When Water News goes, I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let his company die, he grows like a Stalin mustache right as he says it. It's a little weird edit. I didn't notice that.
Didn't he have a Stalin mustache in Monsters University? Anyway, random. What a
transition.
Random, what did you think? What was your experience with Onward?
Yes, Random and Joseph Stalin. I think of those two all the time together.
Yes, of course. I saw this movie in theaters. So I did brave it out. I was
brave it out.
Pixar.
Yep. I did see the movie.
You went and got that critter?
Yeah. God damn it. Okay, so I will I saw the movie, and the funny thing about it is like literally I really busied my day because I was working all day, and then I saw the movie because this would be the only time I would have to see it. And then literally afterwards, I was hyped because I just was starting my first D&D campaign with somebody. So that's a movie to watch. I would say that movie got me hyped to start some D&D.
Oh yeah,
I will say that. But that's the only thought, because I was driving home and be like, ooh, I'm starting D&D right after this, and I did, and I created a character, and oh yeah, I saw the movie. That was cool too.
It definitely got me passionate about this other thing.
Yes, I created a dragonborn.
It did that.
His name was Charabard because he's a bard and like dragon. It's great, but that's not what this is about.
Charizard's not a dragon.
I don't care. It was for the pun.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not a bad pun. I'll grant you that.
All right. Either way, I saw the movie. It was. You'll know my thoughts about it.
That was abrupt.
So, since I'm assuming Kirby's going last, I'll go next. I also saw this in the theaters. In fact, a coworker actually invited me to watch it with him and his fiance. So that was nice. I didn't go to the theater by my lonesome as per usual.
So you were the third wheel.
That's a Pixarspective reference, and I enjoy that one.
I appreciate that very much.
So
thank you.
Yes. And so we did. All three of us went to go see it. I was a little worried about the closed captioning, but it was a-okay. Everything was working. We watched it all together, and we had a short discussion about it. But by the time we finished, it was getting towards midnight, so we had to cut it a little bit short and just like head on back home. But I got some interesting stuff to talk about with how they what they talked about. I think the only thing of note, the only other thing I can say of note is that I shielded my eyes during these SpongeBob the SpongeBob trailer, and
oh, you got a SpongeBob trailer?
Yes,
I didn't even get that.
And also I was not expecting a Simpsons short before.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to bring that up after CirbyFan talked.
Okay, so we'll talk like really quick about that after CirbyFan, but I just was not expecting that. But
nobody was. But CirbyFan.
Yes,
Long story short, Disney is an all-consuming monolith.
Yep. CirbyFan.
I mean, really, all I have to say, this whole thing was going to be about the fact that before a kids movie, they aired a Simpsons short. That I'm still reeling from that.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I really have of note is that normally I watch the movie and then we do this, but yesterday Tokyo Godfathers, the new English dub, was airing in theaters and I went to go see it. So that movie's actually more fresh in my head than Onward. I remember enough about Onward to talk about it, but Tokyo Godfathers, this ain't.
Oh man.
What is it?
I'm really interested in that dub.
Is good.
Oh good. All right. So we got the cleared up. Let's talk about that Simpsons short.
What the fuck? I did not. Out of all the shorts, I mean, I wasn't even expecting a short because they didn't even have one in Toy Story 4.
Yeah, that was weird. They went from no short in Toy Story 4 to a Simpsons short.
Simpsons short. Like, what happened to the creative shorts of Pixar where it was like something completely new? Like, lately it's been Olaf Frozen's fucking adventure, no short, and now Simpsons. I mean, the Simpsons short was okay. It was decent. It was fine. It was fine. It was, in my opinion, it was fine. Not fantastic. Not roll laughing. Bit formulaic.
So, you know what? I'll say this. By itself, in a vacuum, I'm tempted to agree. The problem is, this is The Simpsons.
That's probably why it didn't bother me that much, 'cause I didn't really grow up with it much.
The Simpsons, there are so many people you could hear talk about this, and we're talking about Onward. I don't want to talk about this too much, but what The Simpsons used to represent was this rebellious spirit that, like, everybody needed.
Yeah.
It wasn't culture. It was like satirical culture.
Yeah, it was counterculture.
But The Simpsons, watching this, it just reminded me how much of what made The Simpsons great is just gone. It's just culture now.
Yeah, and it's like the jokes are so flat in this one. Like all they really had are just like those all those classic like background jokes that you have where somebody's like reading. That like all the moms are reading a book that says that like you're raising your children horribly or something like that, and
that's the only thing the Simpsons, like modern Simpsons, can even reasonably pull off these days is sign gags.
Yeah,
because they're pretty low hanging fruit, and also you don't need to rely on the very, very tired sounding voice cast to deliver them.
Yeah.
And
Look,
also
guys,
like
Harry Shearer is not getting any younger. All right. He is almost actual Mr. Burns' age by this point.
that's probably true. Yeah. And you know what? It's like, okay, we're gonna get to Onward, we swear, but it's a theatrical short, and it looks like television.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did not look
Like
theater quality.
There's gotta be like the Simpsons movie looked better than this.
It did. It really did.
I mean, I'm gonna say it just because I hate how the modern Simpsons looks. OG Simpsons looked better than this.
Oh no, by a mile. Like since we're just to keep it somewhat on the top of Pixar, like Brad Bird was one of the animation directors for the Simpsons. Like you can find some of his old notes about how to how to do like shot compositions properly for the Simpsons, and like wonder where he went.
Frames on some absolutely fantastic Krusty expressions.
Yes.
Like Krusty was like far and away his favorite character to draw.
you could tell. You could tell.
Yeah.
But that is the Simpsons short.
Yeah, let's
I don't
get to
know
Onward.
whether to be upset of the short or be happy there was a short at all, because which is worse, no short or that Simpsons short?
How many shorts have they made? Is the question.
Pixar usually makes a short with every single.
Yeah.
No. I mean, how many
Simpsons
of these Simpsons ones have they made? Because I know there's the
this
new
would
one.
be for
yeah,
Pixar,
for theaters, they've made two.
They
The
made
Simpsons.
two.
Is it the other
there
one?
was another one.
The other one
what
is
did it air
Maggie
before?
and the butterfly, right?
Wait, what did that one air before?
The other one was that one where Maggie's in the daycare trying to protect the butterfly.
Yeah, no,
right?
I remember what the short was. Just what movie did it air before? I don't remember
fuck,
that.
who cares?
It was probably
Valid, though.
something.
And that's the
Valid, though.
energy we're taking with the rest of this review.
Onward
Onward.
to Onward.
I mean, like, talking about reviving dead properties, wouldn't it be great if that new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie finally comes out and it's just fucking Roger Rabbit for some reason? Hey, that Amblin deal
Ice
came
Age
through.
Continental Drift. That's what it aired before. That's actually
Oh,
super important.
That would make sense because of
geez.
20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
I was literally gonna hold that until like the last minute of the podcast, but that's too important to wait.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, I
Is
guess
that-
shoot your shot if you got it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, 20 minutes we've been doing this. Onward.
Onward. Oh my god, 20 minutes. So, who wants to do a plot synopsis?
I've done it for like all the anime. I cannot.
Do you want me to do it, or Rancid? Do you want to do it?
I can give it a whirl.
All right, I want to hear your version.
Okay, so years ago, in days of old, when magic filled the air, there was something called, there were wizards in this generic unnamed fantasy land. And only a select few had the talent and the gift for magic. But at the same time, it was an incredibly demanding skill to master. So, other people that weren't quite as fortunate to have magic turned to technology instead to give them pretty much the same things that magic did at less cost and more convenience. And as a result, what we have here is a fantasy world that is rapidly losing its grasp on the fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in this world that we meet Ian and Barley Lightfoot. They are brothers. I believe one is Ian is 16. Barley is 19, albeit a not terribly active 19.
Yeah, I thought it was much older than 19.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought like 22.
I remember there was
that
the mother
range.
at one point made a joke about the world's longest gap year, which made me think that he
Yeah.
was like into his 20s.
Ian is a shy kid and a rather I wouldn't say bookish. I would just say socially awkward kid who apparently is only starting high school for the first time at 16, or he's resolving to be a new person at high school. I didn't really get that part.
I think it was because of the 16th birthday, he was trying to be a new person.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what I
yeah.
think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Give it some
go past
credit.
it. And Barley is, I guess Barley would be something along the lines of a historical traditionalist, someone who
Yeah.
absolutely loves role-playing games and is constantly protesting, is constantly going on about the good old days of Magic, of course, and protesting against, honestly, some pretty nice magical artifacts which are just being callously torn down in their town of New Mushroomton. And
Wait, that's what the town's called?
yep,
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Why did I miss? I
They
missed all
even
the
have like
details of this
mushroom
one.
houses.
Oh wow! Wait, they were in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh.
The princess.
don't you push me.
This was the Super Mario Brothers movie all along. No, okay.
So, I think the important thing to note is that, like any good animated movie, they got at least one dead parent. This would be their dad, who passed away when Barley was very young, and Ian doesn't know him. So, on Ian's 16th birthday, when the boys are both of age, so to speak, they learn that their father has handed them down a keepsake, magic staff, and phoenix gem that will enable him to visit the boys, I guess from some kind of spirit plane or what have you, for 24 hours. A full day of reconnecting, or in Ian's case, connecting with old dad. Spell does not go as planned, and Dad is Sans torso.
Yeah.
Yep, he's just a pair of legs.
And the remainder of the movie involves Barley finally getting a chance to go on a quest like he's always dreamed of to get a new Phoenix Gem so that they can spend what remaining hours they have before Dad is finally gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a subplot. There's a B plot with the mother and the Manticore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got.
No, that covers it. That does cover it. Yeah. So do we? I guess since we're talking about them, do you want to get started on characters and talk about Ian and Barley?
Is it bad that I had trouble remembering their first name?
They certainly repeat them enough.
I don't know.
I mean, I think Ian is like a normie enough name that I could remember pretty easy, but Bartley, I had to go to the wiki page before we started recording to get his name.
Like, it didn't hit me at first. Like, they had to really nail it down a couple of times.
I think the only reason
the elf siblings.
the only reason I'm remembering like Barley is because it sounds like a medieval drink. That might even be what it's a reference to.
Would you like some fine barley?
Barley sounds like Farley, which, if this movie had been made like 25 years before, would be voicing Barley. Chris Farley.
Yeah, Chris Farley.
That was my
But
mnemonic.
instead, you have the two Marvel superheroes.
The two Disney
Spider-Man,
superheroes.
Even 10 years ago, it would have been Jack Black in a walk, right? We're all agreed on that?
Oh, I looked at that when I saw that character design before the actors were revealed. I thought they were going to get Jack Black. Kung Fu Panda was not that long ago. He's still relevant enough.
It's basically just his brutal legend character painted blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good observation. Yeah. And then Ian is a boy.
Ian
is Tom Holland.
Yeah. He's Tom Holland. As an elf.
It's just Tom Holland as an elf boy.
Literally,
Ian
is
no difference.
Generic animation twink number 4.
We got the twink and we got the bear.
Every single time you see, because it happened when Tom Holland was also in Spies in Disguise. You'll remember. Every single time we have a conversation about the Ratatouille protagonist school of design.
Oh,
I miss Ratatouille. Kind of.
I miss
Linguini. Yeah, I miss Skinner.
But the thing is that I guess they had these. They say like, oh, we looked really hard to find actors that had real chemistry together and could best embody these characters. But like, let's not mince words. Part of the reason it's Tom Holland and Chris Pratt is because it's Disney writing the checks and they've basically got them on speed dial.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you're in Marvel. Come over here. Pixar. We need some voices. I mean, to be fair, they actually do seem believable as brothers together. Like, there's only a couple moments where I'm like, yeah, that's awkward.
I think that like was more the dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. When it's actually just them, like, talking things out, it seems believable. Like, there wasn't where I could believe these two being brothers. Or maybe, at least, I can believe they're both their performances.
I would at least give, like, and this is again just more for like the writing and dialogue, but I at least can enjoy Barley for all of those many D&D references, just top to bottom. My coworker is big on D&D, and he had a smile through this film because there was just so many. He enjoyed it most of all. There was just so many like small little references to tabletop games, and it's cute. There's some cute stuff, and Barley knows his stuff.
Yeah,
I guess
something I really liked was that I don't know anything about D&D. I didn't think Gelatinous Cube was something that was D&D. I just thought that was a part of the world. Yeah. And then I saw in the end credits that a Gelatinous Cube is actually real D&D.
Oh, is it?
Was it like credited as a trademark of Wizards of the Coast?
And there are some other things, but Gelatinous Cube is just the one that I remembered.
Yeah,
but, you could have fooled me.
What would like the equivalent to this be in a real world setting?
See,
like,
I was gonna
would Barley be playing like a bunch of really meat and potatoes non-fantasy RPGs like Settlers of Catan or Mount and Blade? Or to be like playing little war games.
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna ask like if there was like the equivalent of this for like historical. Probably he's he probably would be into just like civilization games and stuff.
Yeah.
But what I thought you were going to ask was the real life equivalent. Well, the real life equivalent of a gelatinous cube. Because I realized that was one of the fantasy fantasy aspects that didn't, because so much of this, like we said in the synopsis, so much of this is the fantasy made mundane, and the gelatinous cube is pure fantasy, and I was surprised there wasn't any sort of like extra twist, like the dragon at the end of the film, which we'll get to later, but that at least has
I love
a
that
modern
dragon,
twist.
by the way. That's one bit of unequivocal praise I will have for this movie. That's a pretty fantastic fucking dragon.
That dragon was
we'll talk about the finale later.
We'll talk about it later, but the whole like ending scene with that dragon was very creative. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
I said it. I said the line.
Say the line, Bart.
No, welcome to the Simpsons episode.
Woozle Wuzzle? Is that supposed to be funny?
Even though Tom Holland was Tom Holland, and in a way Chris Pratt was just Chris Pratt, like they were just playing themselves as actors, they still did a decent performance.
Chris Pratt is like 25% himself as like the like the big boisterous flustered dude, and like 75% of Jack Black going, "Oh ho ho, milady."
Yeah, I can definitely see some Jack Black in this. There's he still felt like I don't know. He still felt the part. That I didn't really have as much issue. Probably though, like Ian just is like he's just there. he's the
magic user.
He's the magic user, and that's really all. He's a magic user who's not sure of himself, and it's like, okay, but that's really all we got. Like I don't remember any like funny lines coming from Ian. Like he stuttered a lot when he was trying to invite people over to his birthday party, and like smearing pen ink all over his face.
Didn't we do this character with Arlo already?
Well, no, hold on. There's not one point where he's using the magic staff and he's going. Okay,
yeah,
not one.
Do not compare. Ian may be a little awkward, but he is nothing like Arlo. I will defend Ian there. Arlo is bottom of the barrel.
I'm saying this character type, like this story.
Can I just? Yeah. But
in a way, yeah, but
I think there's a different like analogous character, a better analogy than Arlo, because I feel like Arlo is pure. I feel like Arlo is just like way too innocent, and the point with Ian is that he's genuinely just trying to be the bigger man.
I did like that. One of Ian's peer group is this troll with forearm braces. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was nice. There was like they didn't like comment on it. It wasn't any, and it was just like, hey.
I mean, like it's like the way the trolls are built in this movie. He's got like huge upper body strength.
Yeah.
So of course he's got like a Letterman jacket. He's probably on like a wheelchair basketball team or a luge thing. I don't know what they have in schools.
Well, they didn't explore the world enough, but I can talk about that one later.
Yeah.
It's also weird. I guess we can talk about this ancillary characters. When I first encountered Gaxton, the clearly Hispanic coded elf, I was a little confused. Because I you know, when it's one of the first scenes when Ian is like at Burgershire, and suddenly he runs into one of his dad's old college roomies.
Oh, that guy! I forgot about him.
And like suddenly there's this like elf with a Hispanic accent, and he's a clearly darker shade of blue. And I just thought, oh well, okay, that's an interesting wrinkle. I thought it was going to be like just generic fantasy races that are somewhat ethnically coded, if you get my idea.
Oh, you thought this was gonna go to like bright level?
Well, not bright. let's be fair. It's not gonna go to bright level, but
and I'm so glad it didn't.
Yeah.
But all the same, like I don't know what I don't know what I was really expecting. Maybe it's just a question of my own expectations being subverted, but I feel that that raised two questions and only answered one. You know what I mean? Like it's not a huge thing, but it's just like, oh all right.
I feel like I want to get into like the world building aspect in a later discussion. So let's put a bookmark on that for now. Is there any...
like only it's also interesting in that only the elves, the most transparently human-like of all the characters, get to be racially coded apart from a single Cyclops.
Well, I had thought that the trolls had like different the trolls and Cyclops had different like skin tones.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
like green and bright pink and purple, and that's not quite the same.
Well, we didn't get to see
what
that
Rancid
many
is
other
saying is that
characters.
there are different shades of blue for the elves. Not
Yeah.
here's green, here's pink, here's purple. Look at all these wacky colors.
I got what you mean now. Yeah.
I just thought it was weird that only one fantasy race in this can be coded into sub ethnicities, whereas the others are just they're generic.
And specifically that race that gets that privilege as it is are the human-like ones.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Why is it
it
always
doesn't
the
raise a
elves?
bunch of questions. It raises 2. It answers 1.
I can't believe that this is a movie where that's weird, but the idea of having a dragon for a pet isn't weird because the dragon is literally just a dog.
It's another freaking Disney dog.
Yup.
Why? Disney and Pixar. You're constantly turning things that aren't dogs into dogs.
Okay,
it's,
you know what?
it's
It showed up for like 2 minutes total in the entire film.
Honest.
It's not to the levels of like Spot, where literally his personality is dog.
Yeah, it's just like, you see it appear the first time. It's like, oh, down, Dino, down, boy, and that's it. It just sort of weaves.
That's true. Sorry,
it weaves its way around the legs, and none of the dialogue involved with Blazy is particularly funny. Like, just they seem to think that like scolding bad dragon is instantly funny.
Because it's like scolding a dog, but it's a dragon, not a dog.
That's entry level. All right, you got to build on that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what my problem is. I know the dragon is only in the movie for 2 minutes, but nothing.
Nothing. They do nothing with them.
Again, that had to do with world building, and I'm gonna have a whole talk about that later.
Speaking of being mean for no reason, and of
are you talking about
jokes?
the Ian being mean to Barley?
No.
Okay, I want to talk about
speaking
that.
Speaking of jokes that don't really go anywhere, I want to give the folks at home a little insight into the process of what goes on here behind the scenes of Pixarspective. When the second trailer came out, the one that first involved the Pixie Sprite biker gang, I said like, that looks like the most dire part of the movie. I said, like, it's going to be 4 minutes where the single joke is, oh, they're small, but they're mean and tough. And Wash, you said, without seeing what you mean, that honestly sounds fun.
In Wash's defense, I remember them also saying, I was thinking something similar to that with the sloths in Zootopia. I was proven wrong there. I wouldn't be surprised if I was proven wrong here.
Well,
we were all doing a bit of equivocation because, let's face it, animated trailers suck.
Yeah,
but
every trailer sucks, but animated ones really get a bad rep.
The Pixies are by far one of the low points of this movie. We needed a chase. What can we say? We needed a chase. We needed some jokes. Fuck you.
So much of the problem with those Pixies for me is the fucking world building, which I want to save for later. So how about we talk about the thing that happened after the wait, was it after the chase? Okay, so there's a point later on in the film where they use a disguise spell to disguise themselves as their mom's boyfriend.
Who's the cop? Working hard or hardly working?
Okay, that made me laugh.
They made that.
Every fucking time he whinnied, I cracked up. I could not help myself.
Me too.
You know what was really good about that?
I felt dumb for laughing, but they performed that well.
It sounded enough like a horse, but it still sounded like some normal dad laughing.
And at least they kind of have an arc with him too.
I will say, like, Mel Rodriguez as Colt Bronco is probably one of the best characters in the movie.
Also, they really had the potential to make him the villain of the story, and they didn't.
There are zero villains in this fantasy film.
I mean, the dragon. But
no, that's an obstacle. Yeah.
But yeah, the dragon would be the closest thing, but even then, you're right, obstacle.
Yeah.
So yeah, no villains in this one. So you know what? I think maybe, just maybe, they're getting sick of twist villains now, and maybe slowly but surely...
Bite your tongue.
Definitely bite your tongue on that one.
Yeah.
I think it was more that... I think it's more that the director, Dan Scanlon, learned his lessons from Monsters University. After making the worst Pixar villain, he decided to make no Pixar villain, and that's the better choice. Good work,
I was just gonna say, don't even pose that question. This is better than that.
I mean... Honestly, I'm going to pitch something to you guys. Soul, but the twist halfway through is that it turns out he's in hell. Like the god figure reveals himself to be a villain all along.
God is the villain? God is the twist villain?
A god-fearing Pixar film.
We're getting Old Testament with this shit.
So what I was originally gonna say was like with Ian and Barley was that they had a disguise spell to disguise themselves as their mom's boyfriend, Colt Bronco. And the gimme with this spell is that in order to keep it stable, they cannot lie. They have to keep
because the disguise is a lie itself.
The disguise is the lie itself, because they have to power it with the truth, and so they use like half truths and trying to like weasel words, badgering the question.
And then at one point, Ian just kind of breaks down.
The thing is, he broke down because one of the cops said that like, hey, Barley, he's a real he's a real lost case. Am I right? And
well,
he said, I don't.
No, I meant like before that.
It's like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like rapidly falling apart here.
And that was actually like
they're not.
That was kind of like. One, it was funny to see both actors perform that line.
Yeah.
Two, it was actually a vulnerable moment for Ian.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, his disguise was kept through the whole thing, and the cop who definitely has a name, but all I can say is the canon lesbian cop,
Spectre,
the Cyclops. Start saying like, hey, it's okay, you know, you got a new family and it's tough out there, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's kind of nice. But like the smaller one just says like, oh, that Barley, you know, like what a lost case, you know, like he's just always getting into trouble, and Ian says, I don't think so, and that's when his disguise falls apart, and Barley's like, what? So and it becomes a lie revealed in the halfway mark, and it was
it's a liar. Well,
like I mean, isn't there a way to basically half truth and bullshit your way through that, and like maybe say like, oh, he's got his problems, but he's a good kid, something like that. But apparently,
but like, was even that the truth? Like we see, so it's kind of hard to
like. Apparently, Ian really does have a lot of hidden resentment about Barley that even he doesn't know about.
Yeah, and I'll say at least I totally buy it based on what, especially like the opening act of the movie.
Oh yeah, they actually they made him,
especially when he finally worked up the courage to talk to people and things were actually going really well, and then he showed up and ruined it.
Helmet in public. Who does
But
that?
especially after that, I buy it. I buy that he has a lot of resentment for him.
No,
even
I
if-
buy that. My problem is that like immediately afterward is moping and doping, where they just like they just like turn on each other, and the what makes it frustrating that the only way it resolves is with a distraction, like the death.
Yeah, the dad just starts doing the Kennedy animations kick dance for no reason.
Yeah, and then like they just completely they forget what they were mad about. And they just said, I want to, and Bud's like, I want to see Dad too, and then that was just where they left it off, and it was like, there's something a little smoother than this, because this feels.
It also happens in the climax where Ian just basically tells off Barley for, well, right, like you said, nothing but spoilers, leading them in a big circle back to the town where they started off from.
Oh yeah, and then it goes
says, "You fucked up.
Oh my God.
I'm tired. I'm gonna spend what little day I have with half dad here, and we're gonna watch the sunset together, even though he can't watch it because he doesn't have eyes because it's your fault. Even though it kind of seemed during that spellcasting scene that it was also mostly my fault. I don't know. Maybe that's just the impression that Rancid got away from it. But
either way, it felt forced.
And then
the first one didn't really bother me all that much. I'm not gonna lie. It was mostly because it was actually a big moment. There was actually a bonding starting between the two, and then that happened. I'm not gonna say it was great, but at least when it happened, it was interesting, and I wanted to know where it was going to go. When it happened the second time and they went to see I was like, exactly where this is going to go.
Yes.
I mean, especially
this.
Like the first time they at least gave it a little room to breathe.
Yes.
Like he runs back, and it's in the middle of an action sequence. So you have to assume like, oh, well, we can't talk about this now. We have to redeem each other through our mutual love. And then we'll just never address it again.
Yep.
Even though I blew up at you again.
Yep.
The first one I can at least see as like this was a bad moment, like it was bad blood. We're gonna ignore it because we're trying to make up. That's how I see it. But the second one, oh my God.
Yeah, the first one felt like first one felt more natural. Second one felt like this was supposed to happen because Save the Cat said so.
Yes. I was also thinking Save the Cat. Like, I think a big
third act misunderstanding.
Big part of what was making it hard for me to like really hook onto this was it was just so formulaic. I'm just gonna say it.
Really formulaic. The whole movie.
It was so by the numbers. And it didn't have any additional. It didn't give any extra like flavor to that.
And the especially cruel thing, I'm gonna say this because I need to absolve you all of the responsibility of saying this awful thing I'm about to say. Isn't it just kind of fucking aggravating how this movie's plot and story and inspirations are critic proof in a way? Like when you see it, when you read it like you think this, like I thought to myself, this movie is intensely formulaic, and then you see quotes from Dan Scanlon like, oh, this is based on the relationship I had with my brother and my deceased father. And I'm like, ooh, oh, you son of a bitch. It's like when you see like a painting or something and you think, oh, it's nice. Yeah, it's okay. And they reply, this is done in honor of my late wife. Oh, it's great.
Like, you really put your heart out for this one.
Fantastic. I have no notes.
Hey, how was the play? Oh, it was all right. Yeah, it's honoring both my brother, sister, and uncle who served in the military in Iraq and passed on.
Oh! That was literally like I'm reading notes from my hand.
How did you know?
It's from my look down at my hand. Brother, sister, and uncle looked at the back of my hand who served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
There's like a little Count Olaf diagram.
Oh god.
Okay. So.
All right.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with? Is there anything else you want to talk about with Ian and Barley before we move on to any of the other characters?
It's nice, Dan Scanlon. Every part of your name rhymes with itself. It's nice, Dan, that you love your brother and you love your father. That's great.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm not questioning your devotion to either of them. What I'm saying is that the execution was maybe a bit lacking.
You know the one part that I kind of liked about their developing relationship? It's super small, but it's all visual, and it was the one part of the movie that wasn't in your face. When Ian, for the first time, is casting a spell, it's to bring his dad back. Bartlett goes, "Oh, I'll help," and he tries to hold him down, and he messes it up. Then at the end of the movie, when he's doing a powerful one, I forget what it is that he's doing, but
and he supports.
Oh, they're bringing the dad back. They're bringing the dad back.
Yeah.
And the spell, again, is too powerful. And Bartlett goes to hold him down to help, and he doesn't mess it up that time. They're actually in sync with each other.
Yeah.
That was nifty.
Yeah, they practiced with each other. Yeah, there was like actual development along the way. And we see that development.
There's also something that some stuff from the ending that I really liked, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I will say, again, the chemistry between the characters does work at points. Is there times where it's in your face? Yes.
Is there times when the dialogue is a little on the nose? Absolutely.
Yes. But there's moments that still work.
I think I mean it's been almost a week since I've seen this film, but the one scene I can really think of that was just kind of in your face, but it's not really because of like what they said, but how they executed it was when they're in the river and they're drifting off to wherever it leads off, which turns out to be right where they started. And Barley starts talking about that he actually has one more memory of Dad, and it's when he visited his dad at the hospital, and that I mean, without going too much into my personal life here, that hit me. But then like I was always getting like smitten by this, and I was getting like I was tearing up. I was realizing that like this music is way too on your face. It really.
I think like speaking of on the nose dialogue, they really don't. They really spell it out in that scene. It's like I was afraid to see him. I was afraid to say goodbye. And I thought, okay, yeah, that's good. That's a real human moment. And he follows it up with, and that's when I decided to never be afraid ever again. I'm like, oh, God damn it. I get it, okay?
I've been a real jerk.
It's okay. Not that bad. It's not that bad.
I think it would have been better if his voice had just like faltered or something. Like just leave a little bit of it hanging in the air.
Yeah. Some better like voice direction there would have helped with that. I agree. Let me think. So we talked about the brothers. I guess we can talk about we can talk about the mother and the manticore, since they ended up like being a pair all the time.
Yeah, being the B plot of this.
Yeah.
Kind of
B plot.
Wash, I'm gonna drag you again. You didn't know what a manticore was. I had to tell you.
I didn't know what a manticore was.
Really?
No.
Were Rancid and the only two that knew?
Yeah, I might have known, but I completely forgot. before this movie.
I had no idea.
I thought Manticore was a Minotaur, the bull mage. That one.
They make a Minotaur joke in this movie.
Oh, that's right, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, there's by the way, they wrote a lot of current speaking of Simpsons connections, Tracy Ullman voices that pawn shop broker.
Oh yes,
I
she did.
thought so.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like there's a lot of people you'd recognize, like Ali Wong and Lena Waithe, who are the cops that confront Colt, fake Colt at one point. And there's a lot of people in this movie that are just kind of like name actors that don't have that much to do. It's odd.
I guess they just really especially because like this is I believe this was Pixar's first like mouse release, so I guess they were just trying to like pull all stops on getting just like big named actors like all over, so they can like get them to show up in like talk shows or something like that.
Yeah,
it's especially weird because like I was under the impression that all celebrity voice casts were like declining a little bit, but they really pull out some names like Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Octavia Spencer, of course, power this B plot, and they don't really have the chemistry that Holland and Pratt did. Although I think that's because there's a definite chance they were not recording together. like Octavia Spencer's fucking busy. Okay, she is in so many movies. But and then of course you have like maybe the one voice actress that's not a household name, or at least a different kind of household name, is Grey Griffin as Dewdrop, the pixie biker. And I don't know, like we discussed this before recording, but why her? Because you pitch a voice up to chipmunk levels, you don't really get anything but a performance. So why not just give it to someone on the Pixar staff? I don't really get it.
I guess it's because like Grey Griffin's played so many like mean girls like Vicky and Mandy. There's like, I guess
maybe director was a fan of Butch Hartman and the Fairly Odd Parents, and he wanted a reference.
Sure. You live in your little fantasy world. They didn't have. I can't say they have much chemistry because they didn't have much plot.
Yeah,
maybe 8 minutes when they're together.
They're not together very much.
The only growth. Well, okay, there's like a little bit of growth with the Manticore because like she's going back to her roots, to her origins.
But that's not with the mother.
They really speed run that growth, by the way.
It
takes the form of a sudden, immediate, and intense midlife crisis.
Yeah.
It's an any % growth, definitely.
any percent no out of bounds. But the mom, the only growth that you really had, and this
I guess
would be
the growth
cute.
is. I guess the growth is. Well, she seems a little ignorant of historical / fantasy stuff at the beginning, but she does prove herself to be. She does prove herself to have the heart of a warrior that was hinted
exactly.
I am a mighty warrior.
That's it.
It would have been cute if they didn't spell it out.
Yeah.
It would have been good if she was on screen for more than like 13 minutes.
I mean, like basically the only foreshadowing we get of that, besides the very obvious exercise video, is when I think she does a judo throw on Barley. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, in the beginning of the film.
Yep.
So that's your Chekhov's gun, everybody. I guess you're just gonna have to go with that.
Yeah. This film really loves it. It is so in love with its own like setups and payoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so in love with it that it has to keep saying out loud every one of its setups and payoff. Like the ending where Ian and half of his dad are at the sunset. Ian is looking through his to-do list, and he's realizing, wait a minute, every single one of these items have already been covered because we already watched the entire film.
And let's roll that footage.
Roll that footage.
Oh my god!
I really cringed at that point. Like I think it could have, like, maybe it could have been. Let's again, with voice acting, let's put a more elegant way of putting this. He looks at his notepad and then he looks up and you hear the voices like echoing as he looks into the sunset, and then he crosses it off. You see another point on the list.
Oh my god!
Voices. Cross it out.
It's so dragged out. We get it.
Yeah. We get it.
It could have been. I know it's what you're doing, but it could have been done a little more elegantly than just suddenly splicing in footage that we've already seen. Like,
you know what the worst part about it is?
Let's get artsy with it, fellas.
This message, that's an incredible message.
Yeah.
The execution is 0 out of 10.
Yeah, you know what?
Sometimes your brother can be your dad.
No, you know what? That's fair. That generally is a fair message.
Because role models
It's good. It's good
like,
message.
You get role models in unexpected places, and sometimes your role models are closer than you think.
You think that this is about...
Sometimes your role models don't have everything together in their lives either.
Yeah. Sometimes metaphorically, others physically.
Sometimes you think your role model is a screw up.
Sometimes your role model can just be a brother and a pelvis.
And
But
a
legs are
role
fine,
model
okay?
has a D20.
How good of a role model is he? Roll a d20 and find out.
Ooh,
he's a critical role model, I would say. With
Whoa! There we go. Now we got it.
Oh.
Now we got it.
we're not allowed to do any more. That's it.
Yep. And the video. Goodbye, everybody.
No, I mean we're not allowed to do any more puns. I refuse.
Well, I'm saying we can't top that. Goodbye, everybody.
Okay. Let me think.
We did say
you know what? Okay, since we were talking about like setups and payoffs, I found because I was just happened to be watching this yesterday. There was a video with the cinematography team of Onward talking about some of their shots, and they explicitly mention Edgar Wright as their inspiration for how they staged the shot, and how they like time the jokes and like Barley like zipping in and out of frame and things like that. So knowing that and thinking about like thinking about Hot Fuzz without going into any spoilers, like, oof. It's like there was a better way of
in this film at all. There's no, I don't see that.
I don't see anything like that at all in this film.
I will say that the one bit of setup and payoff that I genuinely was not expecting and did kind of work, because it was a little out of left field, so I did appreciate it, was the stone curse dragon.
Oh yes,
because we see New Mushroomton High at several points. It's got a like got a shitty painted dragon on the
Go
side,
dragons.
like go fighting dragons, and then all of a sudden in the climax, I didn't know what form the cursed dragon was going to take, so I learned that it apparently has to take a physical form. So it all the stonework from the high school like flies off and assumes the shape of a dragon with the mural dragon's face in its center, and then
the roar is a bell.
The roar is the school bell, and I actually like laughed at that point, like, oh, well played, Onward, although perhaps the bar was a little low.
That was like
the bell as the roar was really good, but the part that actually got me laughing was when it had the angry eyes.
Yeah, the eyebrows.
Oh, yeah.
That killed me. Like total Kirby bias here with the angry Kirby eyes, I understand. But that killed me. That was so funny.
Yeah. I will admit that was pretty
This film has some jokes.
It does have some joke, and it does have some creative ideas.
That's the most creative. That's like the one bit where it's because when I was looking for, I was cautiously optimistic about this film, and one of the things that kind of kept me up, kept me interested coming up to the film was that it was modern fantasy, and I was like, cool, we're gonna go see some like actual world building. You know, that was the one genuinely creative use of modern fantasy that we see. A dragon that has to take the form of a high school. Great stuff.
I mean, like it's also a pretty potent metaphor for the high school experience. Like this is in effect like the Lightfoot boys slaying their own demon, because you gotta imagine Barley was not popular at high school either.
Oh yeah. Well, we don't see any like animosity. It's just that like, we see like one like.
Well, that's because like all of Barley's classmates have already graduated. Like I imagine if he came across some of his old classmates, they'd have a few things to say about the historical reenactor nerd. But mostly, like, the world building is done at the beginning by a very quick montage. Like, all of a sudden, it's kind of crack-up worthy. It's just suddenly the invention of the electric light bulb, and then it cuts to an elf in a handlebar mustache, like showing off a washing machine. Like, ladies, this is a linen miracle. It's the turn of the century now. And then it's like a group of, I don't know what they were. Like there was a number of these creatures throughout the film. Gremlins, I guess. They're sort of built like the acid reflex guy from Incredibles 2.
Yeah. Forgot about him, and I was hoping to keep forgetting about him.
You know what was a weird thing they did? They turned unicorns into raccoons.
That was a little that
was originally a gag from the teaser.
That was the gag from the teaser, and like in the actual film, it was for like 10 seconds total for the entire film. Like they showed up once eating garbage, and then they showed up like in the caves, like unicorns, like they're bats.
I expected that there was going to be a chase scene where they had to run against these unicorns, but they just like scurry out like. This is what just kind of frustrates me with the world building, is that like, if you're gonna have a world where like you have magic and then electricity comes into play, had no one thought about like you got peanut butter in my chocolate, like combined into two? There are so many possibilities you could do. That like
we're saving that for the sequel.
Please no.
Onward too.
Where do you think they could go?
Onward once again.
Onward even further.
All the
to go
titles.
even further beyond.
How far to beyond would you say?
I don't know.
I was talking with some.
Set you up.
I was talking with someone, with somebody else about this film, and she made a good point that like this really could have used like a utopia treatment of the different, not with the race allegory, but like.
Oh no!
Not with the race allegory, but like think about like how you have like the monster world, like how you have different sized like apartments for the different sizes of creatures. Like you have a centaur cop that's having a hard time getting out of his car. Why did nobody make a car designed for centaurs?
So
Like-
your point is right, but like Monsters Inc. has this exact same problem.
Like,
which
is to say, like any,
there's problems are
which is to
valid.
say, like,
I'm
any-
saying this is a problem here too.
like any elements of world design are mostly used as a vehicle for sight gags.
It could be a little more than sight gags. Like it doesn't we don't have to just do like Monsters University where they have like one sequence where you see like underwater monsters and giant monsters, and those are the last you ever see of those in the entire film. You could have like some further integration of magic and the modern world, because
Yeah,
like
the question is, we see those mermaids in the teaser. Where are they living now?
I think they even showed up. I want to say they even showed up like in the opening as it goes into the modern world. Like there was one quick shot of that mermaid, and then exactly like that's where we like where do the mermaids go for school? Like do they have to?
It's a school of fish.
Yeah, you know that's the answer.
It's just saddened me because that was as far as they got was like, what if our world, but like fantasy races, and there's a magic staff somewhere, and then that was it.
And this is a fantasy world that is, for as much as it seems to disdain its past, it's extremely conscious about branding itself.
Yes, I noticed. Like the freaking first aid kit is in the Shrek 2 font. Like, come on. Like the far away font.
This is what my problem is with things like the dragon dog. You say it's only in the film for 2 minutes, big deal, but if they're not going to get all these details down, then what does that spell for the rest of the movie?
I think
Exactly.
if the thing is, like, if they're not going to get all these details down, maybe they should have a few less details. You know, like let's
Yes.
cut the fat.
Yes. Either cut the fat or make that fat into something worthwhile.
Let's fatten up that fat.
Yeah. Yeah, fatten up the fat. 10,000 calories.
Just add like, just add a bit of flavor in. Add some pepper. Add some oregano. Okay, just give us something a little extra with this dragon dog.
Put
okay?
Remy in charge of the recipe. The thing with the dragon dog, like, it's a dragon, it's a dog. It can breathe fire. That's like the one difference between the dragon and an actual dog. Take that somewhere. Like, they have heating devices. How about, I have to wait, 30 minutes to get dinner ready? Here, boy, make it faster. Breathe fire on it. Something.
Let's Flintstones this shit.
Yes. The one thing that wasn't bad about the Flintstones.
It's 11. Yeah, there's just like a tiny
So
bit more
much
they
for
could've-
job security.
Like,
Hey, this is the Simpsons episode, not the Flintstones episode.
Simpsons.
Well,
Almost Simpsons.
Oh, no. No.
So, yeah. And then, and like we mentioned the pictures earlier. Like the thing is that they're bikers, but they're tiny, but they use like regular sized bikes. Come on, Nobody said, "Hey, you know these wings we have on the back of us at all times? What if we like use it?"
Well, that's
Or
that's the thing is that they don't use it, and then apparently they do use it, and that's the only real thing that it comes to is a joke later.
And
I thought for certain, like, oh, these pixies are going to these pixies that they just ran into are going to tell Laurel and the Manticore
yes,
where the boys are, and well, no, fuck you.
literally the only thing that the purpose is that they flew away, and which made the mother think, "Hey, you have wings, right?" Like I was expecting like with the amount of like setup and payoff with this, I was expecting that the pixies were gonna have some small bit of payoff at least in the finale in the in the fight, you showed us the you showed us how to use our wings, and we are ever grateful.
It was absolutely set up as a redemption thing.
Yeah.
So
Missed potential.
We were fucking spinning our wheels for 6 minutes of bad jokes.
Yeah. And you know what? There was also in fact to add to that, because you know, I was thinking about setup and payoff, and when like Ian writes his first list like on his birthday, and he writes stuff. I don't have the everything, but I remember 2 specific items was invite to party and be like dad. And I was expecting like some sort of payoff with those two, and like I was expecting invite to party with that like the pixies were gonna they're gonna and like instead of like it's a like a birthday party, it's like a D&D party. You know what I mean? Like I thought they were gonna go for that joke, and they didn't. They the only like joining is that the mom and the Manticore show up at the tail end of the film.
Yeah,
the Manticore barely contributes.
They host like that. They host like that birthday party, which is kind of close, which is kind of like a quote unquote fantasy party at the remodeled tavern, which doesn't really look like an intimidating tavern after it's remodeled so much as a steakhouse.
Yeah, it looks like the Krabby on Mondays.
It does.
Like it, like
the less you know, Eugene,
the better.
The better.
But no, it looks like your standard Phineas Q Butterfat / Uncle Mo's family feed bag type place, and then she remodels it, and I thought, well, you know, like as it zooms in on the door, well, I thought this was going to look a little more interesting. Oh, it's just an Outback Steakhouse. Great.
it's an Applebee's. It's
the one part of that whole Manticore's Tavern that got a good laugh out of me. They asked to see the Manticore, and then, you know, someone in the outfit comes up. They go, "That's not who we want to see," and the person in the outfit goes, "Oh." I like that.
Like the bit of and of course the map gets burned and they have to resort to a bad Denny's style placement.
Yeah, that was cute. I was gonna mention that one.
Honestly, yeah. I like the idea of, you know, this rough tavern that had to be turned into something family friendly because that's just safe. That's a good I think I said this like twice already, but that's a good idea. The problem isn't even that it's done badly. The problem is that it's done so formulaically.
It's not done for any real reason, despite, as the Manticore cites, apparently as the modern world encroached on her tavern, the amount of lawsuits from, I guess, bar brawls or something was just through the roof. So now it's TGI Fridays. Here's your Sunday.
Yep.
I guess that's a key theme of this movie is also one of its weaknesses is that this world of fantasy and magic has just been diluted to the point where it's not very interesting.
Yeah, that was just so disappointing. That was just like,
Talk about undercutting yourself.
again, there any sort of like just take your fantasy world and just think like one extra step. Like if again, we talk about the dragon dog. What would it mean to have a dragon dog? What would it mean to have biker like pixies? Like how would they like try to it's just
It feels like they didn't use the fantasy setting to its full potential.
They've got ideas, certainly. They've got ideas. They're just there's their first draft ideas. You know, like I get the sense there is not a lot of revision going on in this because the when the director and the writer are the same person, and also you have to confront them like, I don't know about this tape recorder scene. It seems a little weird and awkward. Well, that's what I used to do with recordings of my late father. I get the feeling there was maybe
oh yeah, I forgot about that tape recorder scene.
There was maybe some hesitancy to challenge Mr. Scanlon.
Yeah.
So we are starting to run a little low on time. Did we want to do final thoughts? There is an ending we could talk about. We didn't really talk about the ending yet.
Let's get into the ending. Yeah, sure. We briefly mentioned the dragon, but yeah, let's just go right.
Yeah, the dragon. So the misunderstanding happens. That bullshit.
It's like it's misunderstanding / liar revealed. They go their separate ways. And it turns out that the crystal was at the fountain that Barley was trying to protect. And the first thing I thought of when I saw that was, if that's the case, why did it take the mom and the Manticore a full day to get home?
Huh.
Because they didn't know. I guess the Manticore, with her arm tattoos, she still kind of remembers the way, even without the map. But at the same time, it didn't seem like they visited all the same locations the brothers did.
Maybe she's just a slow flyer.
Because they took the freeway.
Like she had to get readjusted to flying because she hadn't flown in a while.
Also,
I guess the Manticore is sort of preparing her for if the boys eventually do come back to town and find that shrine. They're going to be unleashing the curse, and you know what that means? We got to go get my old sword out of Hawk. So I guess there's an element of that. Like we got to beat time, even if the boys are in danger. We still have to protect them in a way. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you have to. They established that you have to use the sword in order to.
It's never the twain shall meet, that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's just okay.
Not terribly well connected.
Let me think.
But the ending.
Yeah, the ending. But and then the dragon shows up and Ian suddenly has the he gets the staff, but he gets the crystal and no, that's later, right? With the crystal? Yeah, no, they're chasing after the crystal because the dragon just wants to get the crystal back.
Ian eventually has the crystal, and Laurel has managed to buy them some time, if not necessarily slay the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And as the dragon dies, as Ian destroys it, he is trapped in the rubble, and he can't go see his father up on the hill.
Yeah.
That and Barley is saying, "I'll get you out," and the thing is that Ian says, "Well, I never knew Dad, but I don't need Dad because I have you. So go finally say your goodbyes. And of course, it's not entirely conquering your fear because like it doesn't bring him back covered in those tubes and machines. So it's not like you're really facing your fear so much as just like tying up loose ends. But
that's I mean, I didn't really think the whole thing was so much about facing your fears as much as it was closure.
Yeah.
It was less about facing it's the closure for somebody who never got to say goodbye to his dad.
Yeah, because they
now, I see what you mean, because the reason he couldn't say goodbye was because he couldn't conquer his fear, but as I kind of see it as like everything that's happened throughout the movie, with Ian kind of being the cowardly one and Barley being the let's go, let's do it kind of guy.
Like he's
conquered his fears already.
Well, but at the same time, this has left him like completely foolhardy. So
I mean, I guess if anything, him conquering his.
It's supposed to be a brother's thing, I guess. Like they balance.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if anything, I guess the real way he conquered his fear, he never told Ian about that fourth memory because he could never confront it. But in telling Ian about it, not only does that give them a bonding moment, but
all right,
in actually being able to tell somebody about it, that's his way of getting over it.
It's a good interpretation.
Oh, so, it's probably thinking a little too much about it, considering this is Onward. But
you're now our Onward defender.
Yeah, it's late in the day. So anyway, speaking of which, the sun is almost about to go down, and
defending.
You know, Barley and the dad whose name, I swear I remembered it at some point. But
they did say.
Does he have a name? Does he have a name?
Willen? Is it Willen Lightfoot?
We can just say Will.
Billiam Lightfoot and his son Bartholomew reconcile, and like the thing is they only have a conversation that apparently lasts a couple of minutes, but the son Wilden knows I'm not going to push it. Knows enough about his sons, I guess, from the adventure that he is impressed with the men they have grown into be, and then Barley says, "Oh, and he asked me to give you this," and they hug, and that's
that was nice.
That was very nice.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Yeah, it was a
sure was nice.
Yeah, nice. not like a cry fest like Coco, but
no, it's
better than now go get that critter.
I got where it was going.
The two extremes.
I got what it was concluding to, and I was like, that's appreciable. That's good.
How do you feel about the fact that we don't get to see the dad at all, other than like? Well, we don't get to see his face.
Well, because honestly, like this film is more Ian's story, and so Ian doesn't get to see the dad, and so it's just he just kind of continues with this picture of it through Barley, and yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
nice.
It's good.
It's nice and fine. It's also something I said before we started recording, but I kind of regret always being the guest for like the bad to average Pixar movies, because sooner or later you run out of ways to say, well, that was all right. Like I feel every single one of my summations so far have been you can either see it or you cannot, and that equivocation isn't really myself as a person, but or at least I don't feel represented as a person, but it's just like I don't feel strongly about this particular movie.
No, me either.
It was better than a blank screen, you know?
Yeah. It was, yes, it was indeed better than Cars 2.
It's better than a good dinosaur.
Yes, I can.
But is it better than Sonic? That's the real question.
That's as close.
Sonic 2020, of course, the one we also all saw.
That's pretty much as close as we're going to get to rankings on this one. I guess final thoughts are in order.
I'm trying to think of what else happened in the ending.
Well, at the end they also they kind of like wrap up loose ends, and they drive off in the new van. But right before that, like
oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Guinevere.
Huh?
We didn't talk about Guinevere, the van.
Oh, yeah,
it's purloined
really
van. You mean the copyright infringement van?
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that lawsuit. But that's all I can really say on that.
Look, I think we all said it in the chat. It would have been just a big misunderstanding, like a huge coincidence, if they hadn't have hired out that van for a fucking company picnic. That is the smoking gun, my friend.
Yep. Ouch.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing that woman can really do about it with the army of Disney lawyers.
You gonna fight the mouse on this one? I think not.
You're gonna fight the mouse? They have their Simpsons.
I was just gonna say that.
Onward to lawsuit? I don't think so. Final thoughts.
Okay. Does anyone? I don't hear anyone saying like, "Oh, I'll start," so I guess I'll start. This movie it got me feeling a bit. It had me feeling a similar way to when I finished watching Brave, the other fantasy film, kind of. Which was like upon watching this, it was like it's not nearly to the sort of like incompleteness of Brave. It just still felt like kind of hollow because of how formulaic it gets. At least upon this first watching, it just felt really formulaic, and I was really disappointed with the world building, just like how little they gave for this. Like
yeah, one thing I'll say in defense of Brave, they have an actual culture to draw off of.
They like you can like and it's a culture that you can work off and you can like explore a little bit. Although the thing with Kilt that was never a thing. Regardless,
it's a Victorian affectation for the tourists.
Yeah, it was definitely not from the first century. I'll say.
Just sort of flubbing your way through it. Oh, and all of you clans have different tartans, distinct and special turns. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a thing that's always been there.
Yep, yeah, always. Yeah.
So it's £50 for the lot.
So let me think. I would have really appreciated like a Zootopia treatment where they like try to have a world that's a little more accommodating to all these different like types, because instead it's just like it amounts to like very brief sight gags at best, and at worst it does nothing with it. It's
nothing.
It's how do we make fantasy as normal as possible is what a friend of mine said to me. I will note this is that my coworker brought up that at the end they have Ian starts a club for aspiring wizards, and the coworker noted that like you have like with this magic staff, like you're effectively a god who can like bring back the dead with the right material, and you're gonna teach some other impressionable teenagers how to use it's kind of like the Pokemon problem where you have like little kids with like war machines.
Yeah, we got the go-ahead from the principal. We're going to be starting the Junior Domestic Terrorist Club here in high school. We're going to be giving everyone a gun and next to no training.
It's
God.
It's and it only took like a day after while I was talking with somebody that I realized, hey, wait a minute. So because in the beginning when they're first trying to like bring the dad back, like Barley tries to use the staff, but like he has no luck with it, and then Ian ends up using it by accident, and Barley ends up saying that like he was able to use the staff because only those with the gift can use magic. Which kind of shoots your story about a character practicing his skills in the foot if he was just born talented.
Yeah, it's the sorcerer versus wizard debate. Except you can't become a wizard. You can only be a sorcerer and then study like a wizard. So I'm starting to see why magic fell out of favor. It sucks.
Yeah. Only certain people can use it. Like
the reason that I can see like why this happened, because like when like the screenwriters, the writers, like there's like, well, we can't let just anybody have.
We have to make someone. We have to make someone special, but we also have to give them a real hurdle to overcome.
But yeah, it's that, and it's just also like, well, if anyone can use the staff, then you have a whole bunch of like technical problems with that in terms of writing, because it's like. Then you're gonna have like a what if the staff falls into the wrong hands, but then it's like, nah, we kill all that because this is a special staff that only one person in the world can use, I guess.
Except, of course, if there's a staff which is only a tiny fraction of the original staff, yet somehow carries all its power.
Oh yes, the splinter.
Yeah, the splinter that
I don't quite get
uses
that.
a spell and it just grows into a normal size. Yep, sure. And weirdly, like because when he first used this on Barley, like that wore off after like an hour, but it didn't for this one because. Yeah, so that was my longest final thoughts, but I just wanted to get those out of the way. Overall, it was
if he has to keep constantly casting a growth spell on it, sure, I get it, but what does he cast the growth spell with?
he cast the growth spell on the wand, and it's just a self-perpetuating spell, duh.
Like he has to use the staff to make the staff functional again? Is this like a preventative thing that he has to keep it big every hour or something?
Yeah, it's a perpetual motion machine. Yeah, sure.
And it'll be the exact opposite of perpetual motion.
Wah, wah, wah.
Intermittent motion.
Intermittent motion.
What a fucking hassle.
I'm not gonna go into like specific rankings, but I did look at my tier list. And I would probably put this on lower middle. I don't know where I would place it. It's probably better than March University. Probably. It was still very middle of the road.
About the same for me.
Who's next?
Kirby, I know you want to.
Don't everybody just fly in at once.
That's a Finding Nemo reference.
That is the Finding Nemo reference.
I thought it was okay. Not like spectacular good. Like not like, oh my god, you have to see Onward. Oh my god, Onward's it's a new Inside Out. Oh my god.
No.
Absolutely not. I will say there's some parts of it that were nice. I still think the chemistry between Tom Holland and Chris Pratt was good, although it was just Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, so that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Animation looks good, but that's kind of a given with Pixar films even now.
Of course.
It's just the same Pixar style. It's what else is there? I just this had potential for world building, and yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
To say the least. And yeah, you really brought that up for me. It could have been so much more, and I don't know if they were like rushed for time. Or...
I don't think so.
I think it was just because Dan is a newish director, right?
This is his. He first directed the short. He directed Mater and the Ghostlight before he.
So a thrilling debut.
Well, but okay, come on. It's a debut. But then he went on to Monsters
Everyone
University,
has to start
and
somewhere.
this was his. This right here was his own original property. This was his first shot at an original idea.
Yeah, because even though he did Monsters University, that wasn't his idea.
Not even close.
Yeah, so it was his first stab, and it wasn't a Toy Story. It wasn't Monsters Inc. It wasn't a Finding Nemo or Incredibles. But at the same time, it wasn't A Bug's Life or A Good Dinosaur either. It was just okay.
It was derivative, but not directly so in the way sequels are.
Yes.
It's not like derivative where it's like I'm like choking on my tongue with just like how formulaic it is.
And it proves that just because it's not a sequel doesn't mean just because it's not a sequel doesn't mean it's not going to be good or it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So even original stories aren't the best. I mean, we've known that since Brave. Like, not everything original.
We've known that since A Good Dinosaur.
Well, Brave.
Bug's Life even.
Well, yeah, Bug's Life even. Yeah.
we finally checked our quota.
Do I think that this is worse than The Good Dinosaur? No. The only reason I think it's below the box office with The Good Dinosaur is because of the coronavirus. Curse you, coronavirus, for making Good Dinosaur look better than what it actually is.
Well, only in terms of opening, okay?
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, let's not pretend that this isn't going to last at least a month. I mean, like, in terms of fallout.
Yeah. Either way, I thought it was okay. I probably need to watch it again to get a full opinion on it, but right now, it's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would put it also in lower middle above Monsters University. I haven't looked at my rankings in a long time, but I would probably put it. It's definitely above A Good Dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Most things
That's not
are.
saying much, but it's above A Good Dinosaur.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna let our guest go last. So, Kirby fan, what are your thoughts?
Oh, fine.
Hey, it's for a guest, okay?
Well,
I know you want to
last.
go. I know you
like
always
the guest is the
last,
sloppy
but...
seconds. Like that's disrespectful. Let Rancid go next. But
Wait, wouldn't I be getting the seconds?
Anyway, so I've been pretty quiet, but I don't. When I watch the movie, I'm pretty alone on this one, but I liked it. I actually thought it was good, not okay, like actually good. But three things. One, I'm not as alone. It's not like Cars where it was good, it was okay, I love it. It's just like good. It's okay, good. Like good. There's no passion in good. Second, I had nothing to say. I remember the movie. It's not that, it's been a while since I saw it. It's not that, Tokyo Godfathers was slapped in the middle. It just, I don't have anything to say on it. So I was just kind of going along with what everybody was saying, which was pretty negative.
Aww.
But that's just what the topic was. I didn't have anything to say on it.
Well, we all had things we could praise about this.
Yeah, I'm saying overall, I'm not saying we all hated it, but this
was lukewarm.
This is negative
from a lot of it. Yeah.
But I'm not saying that as like a complaint about this. It's just like coming into it, I was like, oh, I know what to talk about, and then no, I don't.
It's a competently made sandwich, but there's not a lot of meat between the bread.
Exactly. I think what saves this movie for me and the reason why I still like it, I have to see it again, but I think, at least as far as my first impressions go with what saves it, is that I do think, despite all of its problems, I think this movie has a lot of heart. I think what this movie set out to do was noble, it was nice, and they wanted to tell a good story with a touching moral that you don't see a lot and a nice resolution.
Sure.
Deeply
The
personal
problem was
story.
getting there.
I can't fault Scanlon for his intentions.
Yeah. So I have to see it again. As far as my first impressions go, I mean, I hope I like it more than Monsters University the next time I see it, because the movie I have, I have right below Monsters University is Cars 2. So I really hope I like it more than Monsters University.
That's right, yeah.
But even comparing it to the movie that we saw last, I'm sure I'm alone on this, but I definitely thought this was better than Toy Story 4. That movie also, I feel like quality-wise they're similar, but Toy Story 4 did not have the heart that this movie had. Not even close.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Unfortunately, I have like Toy Story 4 like right below Toy Story 1. So that's something that I would have to
Onward
check.
is better than Toy Story 1, duh.
I don't remember where I put Toy Story 4. I remember actually being in favor of it, but I could say that it does have more heart than Toy Story 4.
I know I said at the start that Tokyo Godfathers this ain't, and Rancid caught on to this immediately, but I was going to bring up that, there aren't that many things that are. So that wasn't supposed to be a slight against Onward. It was just supposed to be like, I know we're not doing anime, but God, I love Tokyo Godfathers.
It's that Pixar has set a really big precedent for itself.
They have, and it has like people expect
I'll be honest,
so
I
much
prefer
of them.
Tokyo Godfathers over most Pixar films. Like, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. But yeah,
Fantastic.
Pixar's kind of shot themselves in the foot for kind of with their early success, so that even if they make films that are just good like this, it kind of works against them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll also say this. I know why this is the case, but I think this movie deserved a better opening weekend than The Good Dinosaur.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you
think
agree,
we're
Random.
purely-
I know you do.
It's purely
It's
timing,
all
really.
circumstantial. Yeah, the timing was just worse.
Again, I know why. It's just unfortunate, but I don't know. That's all I got. I've been drawing this out a lot because I've had nothing to say for the last 2 hours. But you know who has had something to say? Our
guest.
viewer of Russian film, CountRancid.
Yeah, it's no Alexander Nevsky, but it's all right. There's not really. I can say it definitely has the same feel as a lot of Monsters University. Maybe it's been a while since I've seen Monsters Inc. I might have to go and revisit it. And many of the jokes will hit the same way, but the staging is pretty similar. Of all the little gags and the expository stuff and the setup and the visual setups for scenes. But man, I feel like there was a lot more. I feel like there was a lot more inherent potential in this film that ultimately went unused. Like the thing about monsters is that's so generic a term. You can create but it's just you can put horns and an eyeball on a sphere, and that's a monster. But at the same time, you can give those monsters something to do. You can give them a job in a lucrative, possibly extremely exploitative energy sector, where they have to work stereotypical positions, yes, but ones that can actually fuel plot. Whereas fantasy characters, there's a lot more meat on those bones. You can exploit what it means to be a goblin, an elf, a troll, a centaur, a mermaid. And Wash, what jobs do they work in this movie? Normal ones? Great. Okay.
There are a couple cops, and somebody owns a restaurant.
Somebody owns a restaurant. Somebody else's son works at a restaurant.
There's a gas station troll.
There's a gas station troll.
There's a toll booth troll.
There's a toll booth trolls.
Which I think, which is sort of like a blink and you miss it thing. I think it should have been a little more.
It should have been at least a John Ratzenberger cameo.
Oh,
that's where they should have done it.
Yeah, that's
I sent the Discord message that I would not forget who John Ratzenberger voiced.
Yeah, Bally, I'll let you go, but only if you can answer my riddles 3.
Just kidding. 50 cents.
It's like John Ratzenberger's whole job now is to just say, "Hey!" And that's his bit. That's his character.
It's like they have to put him in the movie just because they have to.
Yeah. But I mean, like, John Ratzenberger it is Ratzenberger, by the way, not Ratzenberg, I believe.
That was misspoke, yes.
But like, I mean, like, it's just it's a very cosmetic world, I guess is the way you could put it.
Mm-hmm.
It carries, like I said, a lot of the brandings and trappings of fantasy, but not really a lot of its themes beyond a sense of adventure that is more imposed by a certain character than really carried through in the film's plot. Like, most of the boys going on an adventure doesn't quite feel like an adventure, except it's the adventure they're making of it.
Yeah.
Nothing better than this. Just dudes being dudes.
just make like all those like dozens of like D&D podcasts. Make like the Adventure Zone for Pixar. And also, like, just, like, steal the copyright for that one and not pay them.
I mean, there's that Critical Role animated series coming up. Is that what you're talking about?
Sure, why not? Sure.
Why not?
I mean, like, and that's the thing about serialized fantasy entertainment, is that it can really flesh out some of those weak spots.
Yeah.
We only, this is a pretty slim entry in the Pixar canon. At least, well, I know animated movies by design are typically a little shorter, but because of the cost involved and the labor and also children's short attention spans. But at the same, this is pretty short for. I think it's about 100 minutes.
It's around
100 minutes minus credits.
That was 142.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was an hour 42, but that's including previews and stuff. So,
yeah, good point. So, like an hour 20.
Yeah. Pretty slim. But I feel like even in that very limited time frame. And speaking of which, we got to wrap this up soon. But I guess that's the impetus is all on me to wrap it up. But I feel like they could have done more. They could have made this world feel bigger beyond the single town.
The single town in the world. This needed to be Zootopia minus the race allegory. Like all those like different like segments that are like with adjusted climates and like all that stuff actually like pays off into the actual plot of the film, and it's like, yeah, you could have done something like that maybe. Like
we visit an off-road tourist trap a bridge. We look at some statues.
Mhm.
We visit a gas station in the bad part of town, and that's about it.
That's it.
It's the thing about fantasy worlds is they're usually insular, but at the same time, you get a sense of scale.
Yeah.
There's not much to this,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's in service of a very well-trod story kind of makes it feel like you're just walking around the old garden path. There's for like an adventure that can be taken anywhere. It does feel very. It does feel like kind of a homebody movie.
Mm.
I don't know. I
So you like this film, right?
we like this film. This is normally the instance where I'd say, you can see it or you don't. But in this case, I would urge you, no, absolutely. You wait for this to be on streaming. Don't go outside. Are you crazy?
Yeah, don't go outside.
For Onward? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. This is not worth risking. Am I allowed to say it? It's not worth risking.
Just wait for
this
Disney
is-
Plus. There we go.
Yeah, Disney Plus. That's when you'll be able to watch it. Or
Yeah,
DVD,
maybe they're
that's
gonna
still
bring
okay.
Soul onto Disney Plus. What if they go that far?
They could. They probably will. But either way. Oh, you mean like Soul Disney Plus exclusive?
Look, they got a lot of money in Disney Plus already. They're making that Muppet Show. That's probably going to be canceled.
Again.
They're giving Jeff Goldblum a lot more money than he should probably be getting, given his recent comments. But
Disney.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah. So Onward.
Disney Plus plate is pretty full.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yes. Next
Yes.
time you'll see us with Pixarspective will be Soul.
Yes, the Pete Docter directed, possibly his last directed film. Since he's pretty busy running
Yeah.
the entire company.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, sweetie, I know you liked that movie about dying. Do you want to see the other movie about dying? Is that something that would be nice for you, sweetie? Trey?
Like we had,
Sure.
it's like in the past, like in the past, like we have like from Coco to Soul, like 4 films with like death and dying.
Yeah.
Toy
It's
Story 4?
almost.
Hey, sweetheart, you want to have an uncomfortable conversation after the movie where you'll be haunted by your own mortality for decades and never quite put together the pieces that it's mom and dad's fault? Oops. Let's go see a movie.
Ooh.
all the Disney magic.
Ah, yes. Because
Well,
sometimes
Disney magic runs on the death of parents.
Exactly. So this one is just gonna start with the death of a parent.
The death of a parent and a non-dog dog.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right, everybody.
We don't have a ranking, so we don't have a conclusion.
So we'll watch Onward maybe again. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If it's safe to go outside, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, Disney Plus.
My conclusion will be dying of a preventable illness.
Let's go.
Onward to preventable illness.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah. I'm Random Bystander here.
I'm the Wash.
I'm CountRancid.
And I'm not going to be afraid of anything anymore.
I didn't want
Okay,
that dumb
that was-
dad anyway.
Hey, don't steal my joke.
I'm sorry. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you
Dragons.
later, y'all.